Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Nigeria Now on Equa Television International. And you know how we do it on this show. We look at issues, that are really, really burning, when it comes to Nigerian politics and governance. And today I have someone special, though not new, but not the usual person, like you always say, as usual. Today I have Sele Elisha.
Good afternoon, Sambo Solomon.
Sele, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you, and you?
I'm good. Nigerians, are in a fix, if you allow me to put it that way. In a fix in the sense that they do ask this question: who are the people that are setting this law, and who are the people that are supposed to obey these laws? Are these laws meant for certain caliber of people to obey and certain caliber of people not to obey? They are just there. Sometimes if they want to participate, in the development of the country, they are in between, thinking whether truly they are Nigerians or they are not. Because when it comes to things that you will see that generally it's working for both the high and the low, it's not working. Rather, you will see some of the things that are expected to see obedience from the lower cadre, that is people that are the masses, if you allow me to put it that way. You saw what happened yesterday, at during Emefiele's trial. And you remember, in this show, we talked about synergy, looking forward to see how agencies will come together with one purpose in the name of building this country, in the name of being patriotic, being loyal, to the constitution of the country, and then being patriotic to Nigeria as a nation. But some of these things, you see some display that you start wondering, and then it's confirming to some Nigerians that I think this country, there are certain people that are above the law. There are certain laws that certain people are not supposed to obey, or is not meant for all of Nigerians. Talking about court order, you saw what yesterday happened, during Emefiele's
Sambo is quite shameful,
trial.
Honestly, it's quite shameful. And just like you're saying, to pick up from where you dropped the issue of whether somebody or some people are more Nigerian than the other, and that is a no. We know that when it comes to the law, nobody, I repeat, nobody is above the law. Of course, we know that there are certain people, let's say for our leaders, that have immunity based on the fact that this is a position they hold. So they have an immunity where you cannot maybe arrest them based on that particular time until they leave. But then let's bring it down to the issue of what happened to Emefiele, and they're looking at the tussle for power between the DSS and also talking about the correctional service that were supposed to actually take Emefiele into their power into their custody before pending when he meet up the conditions of his bail. Now, looking at the entire thing that happened yesterday, of course, when you're looking at bail, there are two different types of bail. Let us even start from there. We have the administrative bail, which is coming from the police, because it depends on what your offense is. If you're being arrested, and then if the gravity is not really that high, the police can decide to grant you a bail, looking at the fact that they don't need to hand you over to maybe the court or something. But then if we're looking at an offense that is higher, and then you are supposed to be taken to the court also have two types of bail that they give you, which is bail pending on your trial, or bail pending on an appeal. Now, for that of Emefiele was a bill that was given to him pending on his trial, because his trial is scheduled for 14th of November. And so what the court said was that, okay, he should be taken to the correctional service by Ikoyi Correctional Service, particularly pending when he meets the condition of his bail. Of course, you're expecting to see them there, because we are supposed to take in this criminal pending, because from the way it's looking, he's innocent until
the court
says
says
you are
otherwise.
guilty.
Yeah.
And so since there was no trial whatsoever, he was supposed to be in the correctional center until he has met up his condition of bail. But then, hold and behold, we saw the DSS, and there was a tussle of power. And then questions coming up, where is the order coming from? Of course, the DSS cannot act on their own accord, except they are giving a directive either coming from above. We've always heard this order from above, order from above. Now, who is the above are we talking about here? Are we talking about the DG of the DSS, or are we talking about the president? A lot of people have come out to kick against this. We have had human rights activists coming out to talk loudly about that. Lawyers have come out to say this is not right, because we are invading on his constitutional right. He has the right to actually, go be scot-free, because that is what the court say. But then we saw what the DSS did, and then what baffled me, or what was quite shameful to me, was, the tussle and then the fight, to the point that one of the officers that was supposed to be taking his uniform was being torn. And we know what this uniform means. We're talking about two body, they are supposed to be upholding the law, but then we are seeing whereby another body feels to be more superior, and that is not what we're supposed to be seeing in a country like this. When we keep saying about separation of power, Sambu, we know the executive have their power, the legislative have their power, and the judiciary have their power. But over the years, it seems as if the judiciary are not being given the constitutional right that they deserve, because over the years we've seen that if the court give a ruling, it's hardly being followed. Let's take it back to even during the cash crunch that we had. The court said, okay, you can't use this currency from this period. But nothing was being done, still under the Mifele's power. We were waiting for the president to say, okay, yes, you can use the 200 or the 500 or the 1,000. And then we're still seeing a repeat of that again. So Sambu, if you should ask me, I think over the years we have not been respecting the judicial system. And they are not the arm of government that should be given the right. People have come out to say, maybe let us have the legislature coming into this. They are the lawmakers. So maybe we need to go back and say, what can we now do to rectify this? Because this is shameful. People have come out to say, how about the international body? How are they going to look at us? Let's not even think about the international body. Let's think about Nigerians now. Because this is if a fight, we're talking about somebody that is a civilian. People are saying maybe the noise is louder because we're talking about the former CBN governor. Even though he's on suspension, as far as people are concerned, he's still there, but just suspended. How about if it was just a common Nigerian? How many Nigerians are still in the custody of DSS without trial? How many Nigerians have been locked up in cell without any trial? This, we're talking about a lot of people that have been
are in the correctional
denied.
center
Of course, they have been denied their right. And so I just hope that
of fair hearing.
Fair hearing, of course, you're supposed to have that right, but we don't. We don't see that. If we're looking at the period Emefiele spent in DSS, it was quite long, after 40 days. Ideally, I'm supposed to face the court within 24, 48 hours, pending the distance. But then we didn't see that happening. So I think we need to go back and check, are we really seeing the DSS serving based on what the Constitution said? We should go back and see, what did the Constitution say about certain things? We keep saying that rule of law, but will we truly know what rule of law is in this country? So I just hope that we'll have the DSS coming out, because till date I'm yet to see any, complaint or any their own side of the story, because so far it's just coming from the judicial system. The DSS are yet to issue an official report why they behave the way they did. So we hope to see that they'll come out to give us an explanation to why they did what they did at the court yesterday.
Well, you see, this discussion is not even centered on Emefiele. I think is the fight between the two federal government body. We have the DSS, and then we have the correctional center, and then all of this the DSS and then the correctional center. They are constitutionally formed, and then they have their terms of reference of how they are to operate. So I know there's a boundary. Even the judiciary, they have their own boundary, and then the correctional center, and then the DSS. Like you rightly say, we really need an explanation. But even if the explanation will come, what really happened is it doesn't paint a good picture of our country and even how our system is operating, because clearly you could just see there's no synergy, because someone doesn't know where his power starts and where it stops. You understand? But come to look at it, Sele, could it be, you know, is just a law of karma, you know, like really playing? Because you remember the court gave an order, you know, for that currency,
the cash crunch,
the cash crunch, you know,
that.
then, you know, the court says this is it, and then he stood his ground. He didn't reverse anything, and then this time around he needed the bail. You understand? The court granted, but now the DSS are not saying they are not going to follow the order, because at one point or the other, him too did not follow the court order. So you see, sometimes, you know, I'm just looking at it out from that, just a general point of view, that whatever you are giving out, remember that it will still play back, it will come back to you. But no matter what happened, at the end of the day, let's just uphold to the rule of law. You know, we know what the law says, we know what the Constitution says. Doing that will bring sanity, you know, will bring sanity into whatever we do as a nation. And that alone, you know, if we adhere to all of this, it will bring greatness to the nation. Because imagine a country without a rule of law. That country, I don't think it will stand, because everybody will be doing whatever he feels like doing. God forbid that happen to Nigeria, because we believe Nigeria is a good country and Nigeria will rise again. We just need leaders that will be truthful and will stand with the truth and do the right thing no matter what. You know, and then still Nigerians now are calling for restructuring, you know, even as we expect Tinubu to forward his ministerial list. Days are counted.
Of course, Lord, I think this ministerial list is coming back and forth, and Nigerians can't just wait to find out who are their ministers. Because we've been talking about this issue of ministerial list, where rumors came out whether the list is out or not, and we've seen that barely 48 hours, because the president have till the 29th to actually issue the names of it. And then the last time we had was when the list was with the EFCC and the DSS to go through it to check and make sure that the people who are on that list are actually free of any criminal thing or whatsoever. And we've seen that Nigerians are hoping, just like you rightly said, Nigerians are hoping that there'll be a restructuring, there'll be a reform, because we're hoping to see technocrats, we're hoping to see politicians, we're hoping to see people who have the will to actually push this country further. If you will recall, the past ministers we had before came out with one excuse or the other. I clearly remember that of Keyamo, where he came out to say that he wasn't given the jurisdiction to do what he was supposed to do. And I asked a very nice, or however the question came out, was the fact that when you were given that appointment, why didn't you kick against it? You have the right to say, I won't collect this appointment,
because
but then
it's not clearly stated. What am I going to do there?
This is what
you
will
enjoy everything that comes with the office.
And then it was 8 years after you have been in that office, you're coming out to tell us that you weren't given the right. Or I'm going to look at that of the Minister of Education, who was barely absent in that, you know, office. So we're hoping to see a portfolio of ministers that truly know what they are facing. We're hoping to see ministers that know what it means. Just recently, during the book launch, where the former president, Obasanjo, was present, he came out to say that Nigeria have been living below expectation, that we're a disgrace to Africa, we're a disgrace to the black nation, we're a disgrace to the world. He's entitled to his opinion based on what is happening. And he said our leaders have a very shallow knowledge of development. But then what does that mean? It means that we need our former leaders to also come up and let our leaders know, this is the way I did while I was in power. Why don't we do it this way? We're talking about the world is moving to be digital. Technology is needed, and no wonder people are saying we need technocrats, about 60% of them, people who truly know what it means to be a minister. Right now, doctors will be going on strike. We don't have a minister of health. Next, we'll be seeing educational sector, whether there's an increase on tuition fee or not. There is no minister of education. So there are a lot of sectors that we really need the ministers to be present, so that we really know where is this sector heading. Is it the likes of transport? We need to know. Just recently, there was a video that was flying when the convoy of the Edo State governor was stuck in traffic. And a lot of things were coming out. People came out to, in fact, somebody who was recording say, everybody go collect. What does that mean? When Nigerians were shouting and saying, we need you to fix the road, nothing was being done. Whole and behold, just like you made mention, maybe karma. So there are things that we really need to be proactive about, and especially when it comes to this ministerial list, the Senate are hoping to see. So I just hope, it's my desire that just like we saw while he was going through, in fact, the president said that he doesn't want to have any visitor for the next 2 days. Nigerians should pray for him so that he will actually select the right leaders. Well, I believe that he should have eyes for various people already, but then it's our desire, just like he said during his while he was being given the certificate of return, he promised the youth and the women. So I believe that the youth and the women are hoping to see how are you going to capture us in your ministerial list. So just like they have not seen themselves, women have been canvassing that they should be present in the parliament. But since we didn't see them there, let's hope to see what this ministerial list will actually showcase. That will truly let us know where we are going as a nation. It is my desire that the president will make the right choice to choose the right leaders, especially when it comes to these ministers, because they will really, really tell how his office will be for the next 4 years or 8 years, how it goes.
You should be rest assured that Nigerians have been praying for him, and they have been praying for the nation, because all we need is, to see this nation progressing, and we don't want to see, a situation whereby we'll be going one step forward and then 10 steps backward. And people are really expecting, like you really said, to see who are the people he's going to bring on board. All the campaign promises that Nigerians will soon forget about all of this hardship he's making. He's working tirelessly to make sure that, he put Nigeria into the path of greatness. Definitely when you see people around you, people that you are going to work for you, to achieve all those promises, from that cabinet, people would tell whether truly you mean what you were saying during campaign or not. So I know that Nigerians are praying, and we just hope that he should do the right thing, because there are certain things that prayer will do, there are certain things that willpower will do, because you have to stand your ground on certain things beyond politics. We want to see real governance, bring people that really mean well to Nigeria, to this country, people that are patriotic, not people that brought us to this present situation that we are, and that now we are looking for solutions left, right, and center. So you should bring people that really, really have this nation at heart. And trust me, Nigerians will keep talking. And I believe right now Nigerians are getting more enlightened. Nigerians are following what is happening in the government. And that's the reason why, as we speak now, some state like Edo, for instance, they are protesting. People, the pinch is beginning to get, unusual, and then people are beginning to react. We don't want to see a situation whereby this country will go on total lockdown, because there will be a point that God can just decide to remove fear from the heart of masses, and they will react, to how they are being governed, because Nigerians are beginning to take ownership of government now, of governance. Like they want to be part of what is happening, the people that are ruling them. Resident doctors commence an indefinite strike. That's sad.
Sambo, it's quite sad, because I could recall on the 5th of July when the resident doctors issued
2 weeks.
2 weeks ultimatum to the federal government to do something, because they give a lot of terms, things that they needed the government to meet, among not just their hazard allowance, looking at different things. In fact, they gave out a circular that the federal government was supposed to actually meet up. And then just on Monday, the speaker had a meeting with some of the representatives of the National Resident Doctors Association, telling them to just be patient, give them a week to meet up and see what they're doing, because they're just coming into power. But we know the way things are, right? The Nigerians don't care if you're just coming into power or not, because you are supposed to have, you inherited both the good and the bad from the past administration. So it's expected that you know what was on ground before you actually set the ball rolling. And right now we've seen that
they even use that to campaign.
Of course, you use that to campaign, so you're supposed to know what you are actually facing. But we've seen that the resident doctors have actually comments on the indefinite strike today. Already before then, we had various states that were already on strike, the likes of Plateau State, Nasarawa State, among others that were already on strike because of certain things that were not being met. I'm going to look at the some of our hospitals that you see them in a very, I mean, the state is so poor that you can even cry about the way things are. You go to a government hospital and you can't believe you're in a hospital and all of that. And then we've seen that the resident doctors have gone on strike. And we keep crying about brain drain, because a lot of our doctors are leaving the shores of Nigeria to go outside. I clearly remember when the former Minister of Labour said if they like, they can go. And a lot of Nigerians were against that statement. Why will you tell the doctors that if they like, they can go outside? We're supposed to be looking at how can we keep our doctors back? How comes that when they live outside the shores of Nigeria, they're doing better, but when they come home, they cannot give their best? Most of them prefer to operate their own private hospital than to work in the government hospital. What is the problem? And we need to check it. If I keep saying this, and I'll not get tired of saying it, the fact that the health sector is one of those sectors that we are supposed to even be achieving so much. We have countries that actually make money out of their doctors that are abroad. But how much are we gaining as revenue from our doctors that are abroad? We don't benefit much. I'm going to look at how much we keep enriching other countries when it comes to health tourism. I'm going to look at even the educational sector. So a lot of things are not going well. And I just hope that our leaders will stop turning a blind eye to the situation that is in the country presently. Because if we're going to talk about health sector, honestly, our doctors are nothing to write home about. We've seen that there are a lot of illnesses that are breaking out, and they're always at the forefront because they don't know what they will face. So I just hope that our leaders will stop looking at these doctors like another body. And I keep asking, why do we have to have maybe the doctors or our teachers or our lecturers saying that they will go on strike before we do the right thing? Is that the only way out? Why don't we look for another way where we can solve issues without always going on strike? Ideally, we're not supposed to be hearing our doctors saying they will go on strike. You're supposed to know that this is what they need. Let us increase their welfare. Let us do this. Why don't we do this? We keep talking about cutting the cost of governance. Yet we keep saying that we want the people to sacrifice, but leaders are not ready to sacrifice. Is that what we want for our doctors? They should sacrifice, put their needs behind, just because they need to meet the needs of Nigerians. Backwards then we heard that 10,000 patients to a doctor. But tell me, Solo, right now it is more than that, because our doctors are leaving. Not just our doctors, our nurses are leaving. Midwives are leaving. So who will be left? Let's even, most professionals just want to leave the shores of Nigeria. Recently, there was a report that the number of international passport application is getting high. Everybody just wants to leave the country. So who will fix the country? So it's my desire and my hope is that our leaders will actually, you know, fix it. Just like I mentioned about the issue of the road. We will all collect if we don't do what is expected. Because the situation will be that you need to use the Nigerian hospital. What will happen if the things you need is not available because you turn a blind eye? Let our leaders not forget that one day you will not be there forever. You'll come back, either as the local government chairman or a councillor. Then what happens to you if you didn't fix things that are supposed to be fixed in the country? So it's my desire that hopefully, truly, hopefully, just like you said, there are things that prayers can fix, but there are things that willpower is needed. If we have the will, nothing is impossible for us in this country. So it's just my desire that our leaders will see the need to actually do something. Maybe by next week, it's my desire and my prayer that the doctors will say, okay, the government have met that needs, want to come back to work. Because it's sad you go to the hospital and then you meet that the OPD is locked. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. Imagine a lot of patients right now, not many of them can afford to go to the private hospital because of the money. You hear consultation fee, maybe 20,000. How many Nigerians can afford that? So we hope our leaders will do what is expected of them to do and call these doctors back to work.
Well, we pray that God will touch the heart of our leaders to do the right thing. You know, talking about the issue of doctors, you know, these are some areas that we keep hammering that we need government to come in and then let's feel their subsidy, you know, in the health sector. You can imagine, you know, we have a colleague, you know, which aunt is supposed to be operated, but because they are going on strike today, they can't keep her. They have to leave, and then the situation gets worse. She had to go to the private hospital for her to be operated. They need 200,000 as a deposit or more than. And these are ones that we can say close to us and talk. We have thousands and millions that are out there, you know, that are facing even more difficult situations like this. You understand? It's government hospital. That's when we see this subsidy. But we pray that, you know, the right or the right authority will do the right thing. Thank you, Celia, for doing this with me.
My pleasure, always.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for staying with us. We hope that we'll do this tomorrow, same station, same time. Thank you, and God bless you.